So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to all of you for joining us today. The objective of the workshop today is for us to find out more about EIT Health, what they do, and importantly, for those of you partaking in IMI projects and IHI projects, is to actually get to know what opportunities might be available to you, especially for those of you who are looking to exploit your results, develop activities further, and some of you will be coming to the end of your funding of IHI, and you will be thinking, okay, what can I do next to ensure the impact of my project? So EIT Health have some interesting programs that might be suitable for you. So that's the objective of today, is for us to learn and know more about each other. And I just want to say a few words about IHI before we get into the meat of EIT Health and bridging the gap. Because many of you will be coming from a background of the Innovative Medicines Initiative. So you'll be well used to IMI 1 under FP7 and IMI 2 under Horizon 2020. Naturally, IHI, the Innovative Health Initiative under Horizon Europe, follows on in their footsteps, but we are different, and we are different in some very important respects. We remain a public-private partnership between industry and the European Union, but IHI actually mobilizes 5 different European trade associations. They are CACIR, FPA, MedTech Europe, Vaccines Europe, and Europa Bio. So this broader scope in our participation really changes the nature and the character of the types of projects that we're going to fund. But we are still focused on funding large, collaborative, transformative projects that are focused in healthcare. However, compared to what we did before, the challenges that we are addressing through these projects that we fund under IHI are very much focused on the continuum of care. So everything from basic research all the way through to what happens in the doctor's surgery or in a hospital setting. Some things remain the same. As I've said, we're a public-private partnership. We implement the programs through the projects that we fund. Our funding is a matched funding model. So 50% comes from the EU, 50% comes from our industry, our members and contributing partners. And we identify the projects that we fund through open competitive calls. So I'm afraid for those of you who are interested in participating in IHI, you have to form a consortium and you have to apply in response to a call. The context in which IHI operates has changed. For those of you who know the Horizon Europe legislation, we and many programs were expected to contribute much more directly to EU policies than we might have done in the past. So in addition to Horizon Europe, we're looking as a program to contribute to Europe's Beating Cancer Plan, the industrial strategy, the pharmaceutical strategy, and other programs such as the European Health Data Space. We also contribute through our projects to the UN's Sustainable Development Goal 3, about ensuring, promoting well-being and ensuring healthy lives for all at all ages. And very importantly, we're expected to synergize. So we are meant to work with other programs. So we're looking to avoid redundancy. We're looking to avoid duplication of effort. We're looking to synergize and complement each other as best we can. So we at IHI have actually spent quite a lot of time reviewing the landscape of partnerships and initiatives at both the European and national level. And those of you that are aware of Horizon Europe will know there are a lot. But it became immediately apparent to us that one of the initiatives and programs that we should be working with is EIT Health. And on that basis, we signed a memorandum of understanding to disseminate information about our respective programs to our respective stakeholders, and to explore how we could actually move and complement the work of each other. So we at IHI really view EIT Health as an important option for those of you that are thinking of, well, how do I sustain my activities beyond the end of IHI funding, but also as a way in which you might be able to complement the activities you undertake, so you can actually maximize the impact of the work that you are doing. So in a nutshell, data, digitalization, new technologies, new technology advances, and this idea of a wider cross-sectoral collaboration are really at the core of IHI. Our focus goes beyond medicine's development, as I said, and so we're trying to support the translation of scientific progress or technology advances in a wider range of areas. And of course, we want to mobilize and use the opportunities that big data is bringing, and particularly in addressing the challenges in healthcare. To finish up, 2 important points. Patients remain central to the work that we do as a program. We are looking to the results of our projects to remove the challenges that are preventing innovation from reaching patients. We're looking to improve prevention, speed up and make more accurate diagnosis of disease. We want the results from our projects to generate the new, better, safer, more cost-effective treatments that our healthcare systems need. And we want to generate the data and the information that will help patients and carers and their clinicians manage the diseases and conditions they suffer from. We understand that the landscape of partnerships is complicated. We understand that the large collaborative projects that we fund can be complicated as well. And so therefore, those of us at the IHI office, we remain dedicated to acting as this neutral platform that allows the mobilization of all the different stakeholders, patients, companies, regulators, funders, charities, researchers, universities, whoever we need in a project, we try to bring them together. So that is why we are really delighted to be able to run this workshop today in conjunction with EIT Health. And we're really grateful for our colleagues from EIT Health who have taken the time to join us. They're very busy people, so it's great to see you. So thank you for coming along. And we also want to say from IHI's perspective, a really big thank you to the 2 projects that will be presented and the representatives from EUPATI and Electronic Health Records for clinical research. They're going to tell us about how they've managed to bridge the gap and how they've managed to use EIT Health to continue their excellent work and generate the impacts that we all so desperately need. So that's it from my side. I'm going to hand over to Jean-Marc, and I think then after Jean-Marc, we will go to Christina. So over to you, Jean-Marc.
Thanks a lot, Hugh. Really appreciate it. So, Jean-Marc Bourez, I'm actually the CEO of EIT Health. As you may know, EIT Health is a knowledge innovation community. We are an EU-funded body within the 3rd pillar of Horizon Europe, and EIT Health is actually aiming to catalyze transformation in health. Our mission is aiming to tackle the European Union health, demographic change, and well-being societal challenges by means of powered innovation and technology. So, as Hugh just introduced to all of us, earlier in 2023, we went through a memorandum of understanding, signature, official signature, and to make the IHI EIT Health MOU happen, we decided to co-organize this joint workshop to promote the activities of our organizations across our respective communities or networks, supporting cross-pollination of our communities and mutual dissemination of our opportunities offering by breaking down the silos between both organizations. It expects to fleshing out a strong relationship with IHI community, create synergies and promote collaboration between the 2 entities as prominent nodes of the European health ecosystem. As part of the workshop, project that has been journeyed from IMI IHI programs onto EIT Health initiatives will be showcased today, demonstrating how participations in programs run by the 2 organizations enable continued maturation of best-in-class activities in the network, and creating a kind of a integrated pathway between IHI, IMI, IHI portfolio selected project towards EITL's selection process to improve and to taking the market access of innovation technologies that are supposed to address the unmet medical need, up to the adoption of those innovations within the healthcare system organization. So we consider 2 projects as a champion example of the above journey. And today we are really delighted to nurture the dialogue with your question during this workshop and share your story with both ecosystem. So the 2 champions will be actually EHR for CR, which is electronic health record for clinical research, which has been reshaped and selected within the EIT's portfolio to become electronic health record to electronic data capture. And the second one, EIPATI, which has been selected in the EIT's portfolio a couple of years ago to become EU PATI Reload. So I'm handing over to Christina Vescos, our Chief of Growth Office ad interim. She will be introducing to IHI colleagues what does it mean EIT Health at a glance, what's about the knowledge triangle, the different support programs that we are delivering to the community, and the upcoming opportunities regarding the call for project or call for activities moving forward. Handing over to you, Christina.
Thank you, Jean-Marc. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Huge, and the whole IHI team to let us have this opportunity of introducing you EIT Health. So I'll have the honor to guide you through a bit of a short presentation on who we are and how we work, and then we will give the space to the project. So let me first see that it works with the presentation. Let me make sure that you can see the screen. If you
Yes,
can confirm,
we can.
yes,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so just to guide you a bit of the planning of these 2 hours that we have planned for the workshop. Once we are done with this welcome and introduction part, we will have the presentation of EIT Health. You will be able to ask questions in each one of the parts. So please use the chat option, which is at the right bottom corner of your screen, so you can write your questions and we will address them at each individual session. So there will be first this presentation of EIT Health, then we'll go through the transition of the European Health Record for Clinical Research or Data Exchange, the first champion project, and then we'll go to the EU PATI, which is an education project for us, and then we'll have a 5-minute closing remarks and a goodbye message. What is EIT Health? So our motto is Together for Healthy Lives in Europe. And in the end, is as you know, the same idea of IHI. We are really a catalyst to bring network partners together and investors to make the healthcare innovation happen. So our aim is corresponding to this triple N. So one is definitely promoting the better health of citizens, but at the same time strengthening the health systems. And we know, I mean, after the COVID change, how important is the resilience of the healthcare. And the third one, and not less important, is to contribute to the competitiveness of Europe in the area of the health economy. And how we work, we have our central office not in Brussels as IHI, but in Munich in Germany, and we are a distributed organization. So we have what we call collocation centers, which are offices in different geographies that cover more or less the whole footprint of Europe. So we are I mean, our value is keeping always this balance between the local relevance and the European capacity to scale. We have a specific node that is called InnoStars that clusters all the organizations that have kind of a moderate index of innovation, and They also cover what is our RISC community, so the Regional Innovation Scheme that covers also another 13 regions across Central, Eastern, and South of Europe. And we also have a hub in Israel and an office that is located in the US, also in collaboration with other kids. So if you see the map of Europe of EIT Health has the different collocation centers in Scandinavia, Benelux, Germany and Switzerland, Austria, Ireland, UK, France, Spain, and as we say, the InnoStar region that covers also the RIS innovation centers and the Israel hub. How do we work? We are a partnership organization, and in our case, our partners are not sectorial associations, but really the individual organizations. So we are a partnership of around 120 organizations covering the full value chain of delivery healthcare, so coming from education, research, healthcare delivery, industry, startups, entrepreneurs, and going into also collaboration with investors. And we work in different programs across what we call is the knowledge triangle, which is the combination of education, innovation, and business creation. So always keeping this holistic view in order to make impact for not only the health and the healthcare sector, but also the economy. So this is an overview of our partners. So I hope you can recognize some of the logos of our institutions. We have at the moment 2 categories: core and associate partners. They all contribute to our programs. Just a clarification, since also the change of the Horizon program, the funding that we are managing from the European Commission, that is part of the Horizon Europe on the cluster 3 pillar, it's open, so it's open to the whole in an ecosystem of Europe. You don't need to be a partner to apply for funding from us, but if you are in the end selected to contribute to a program that has more than 50K per year, then there is a request to be a member of the network. So we are really, for us, it's very important to have this partnership of combined organizations that are really moving innovation forward. Our partners are leaders in their fields, and as you see, it's not only the industry leaders, as you also have in IHI, and you can recognize many of the names of the different associations. But we also have leading educators and also high-profile investors and healthcare providers and healthcare regions. So in all the indexes that you can see, we have the leading organizations in Europe. Our work in the past was very much bottom up, so we were launching calls for programs, but since last year we decided to change our strategy and focus on flagship initiatives that are areas where we think we can make impact in different aspects, and that impact is really at European level. So for the next year, we have 3 flagships selected. One is called New Models to Deliver Healthcare. The second is the digital transformation of the healthcare. And the third one is the reindustrialization of Europe. I'll go afterwards to explain a bit about them. Just a bit of numbers of our impact. So we started working in 2016. So we are also a very young organization, and these are the data until 2022. So we have given support to now around 3,000 startups that have been able to raise around 2 billion euros. We have been able to support the launch to market of more than 100 products, and we also measure impact in terms of the reach to the citizens, and also the number of trainees and students that we have reached, that is around 50,000 people. About the flagships, and let me just give you one word for each one of them. So new models of delivering healthcare is we are looking at how the healthcare system needs to change to models of reimbursement that are really based on value, and looking for outcomes that really matter to patients and not only clinical ones. So we are looking in this kind of programs, education or innovation programs, is to supporting this change of paradigm, looking for very mature technologies, but are looking for more preventative models, population management models, and ways of delivering healthcare that really bring value and not just activity and more cost to the system. For all the flagships, so we'll say we are planning to launch our next call for proposals in the beginning of 2024. So that the launch date is expected the 10th of January. And from here, I would also like to invite you to the webinars that we will have in January with the details of the call. Then the second flagship is the digital transformation of healthcare. So I think we all know that this is coming, but it's not going at the pace that we all wish, and that the velocity that is happening in other sectors. So we are focusing from EIT Health in specifically 2 points. One is the upscaling of digital health medical devices, and especially, I mean, in how to harmonize the validation and the way of proving the effectiveness and the cost benefits and evidence of the different tools on medical devices for patients and professionals that are at the moment being tested in different countries in different ways, and we are helping in this harmonization and this scalability dimension. And the second key area within the digital transformation is data, of course. I mean, we are supporting the European health data space by exploring the use of the secondary use of data, specifically in trying to develop successful use cases in which the availability of data can really accelerate the reach to market of the innovations. The third flagship, it's called reindustrialization of Europe. I think you all have seen that after COVID, that we need to make sure that the autonomy of Europe in critical sector, and especially, I mean, we know biotechnology, medical devices is one of them. So we are supporting the European strategies around the reindustrialization of Europe, specifically in the IPCEI program, which is an important project of common European interest, and which is a program really to enhance the manufacturing capabilities of Europe in the first wave, more in the area of production of pharmaceuticals and bioproducts. In the second wave, more on the digital space. And our role here is to complement this IPCEI program with the support to the organizations that are not covered by the IPCEI, which is a program for corporates and big industry, so that we can really complement those programs with education components, or with support for startups or for healthcare systems, other entities that are not for profit, that are not covered, as we say, from the IPCEI program. We are also looking into working on the skills that are required for the next challenges of the industry of Europe in the healthcare area. Just to explain you how we work, what is essential of the spirit of EIT Health is this mentality of the knowledge triangle. As we say, there has to be always this dimension of education, research, innovation, and business side. And we have that always with the mentality of supporting the patients and the citizens of Europe. Second part, it has to be a collaborative with this mindset of both different type of actors together and also international and multidisciplinary way. And the last component, and this is probably what is a bit more special, that is not requested in IHI, because IHI is a pre-commercial approach. We are normally entering later in the stage of maturity of the programs. Is we part of the EIT mentalities is to become sustainable as a network, but also all the projects or all the programs that we are supporting. So we are always asking that if the project is successful and we are putting all our resources to support the different programs, that part of this success is shared among the network so that we can continue to support different programs in the future. I have 2 slides just to explain you 1 second, specifically our innovation area and our education area, vis-a-vis what is known for you in IMI and IHI. In general, for the innovation part, we are looking similar as IMI and IHI in technology that are relevant to the healthcare system and addressing an unmet need, but with a level of maturity that probably is after the IHI, IMI step. The second, there has to be a consortium. Normally, the dimension of the project are smaller in our part, but we have to make sure that the project is addressed by the right consortium that has really all the elements in the consortium to cover the project needs. We are putting a very strong emphasis on the commercialization strategy. This is really the last mile where we are positioning ourselves, and there has to be a demonstrated traction, market acceptance, and we are helping in specifically in the scalability of the solutions across Europe. Just a couple of notes. What are the things that normally are the pitfalls of the proposals that we are analyzing is the level of maturity. So sometimes there are good ideas that come to us, but that they are too early, and that's probably better to go to other instruments like IHI or Horizon. For us, it's very important to have a wide impact on European citizens, so in number of citizens that can be reached with the solutions, and that the implementation plan is very thoroughly explained, because we have, as I say, shorter projects, very ambition reach to market normally 1 year after the project ends. So we have little space for failures or for doubts in the planning. And again, normally it requests certain preparation from the teams involved. With regards to the education capacity that we also have, of course, they are also based on the needs of the learners in the space that we have identified in the flagships, as we saw. Also, we are looking the same. The consortium are a combination of institutions that have to be experts as subject matter, but also in the development of the knowledge triangle. So we are looking not only in the education programs to education institutions. It has to be always a mix of our knowledge triangle. So it's very important for us to have industry also in the education programs. also very emphasis on the description of the evaluation so that we can really measure achievements and impact in considering the intended learning outcomes. And again, normally the education projects, when they fail in our learning of these years, is because they are not focused on the specific content or the quality of the curriculum, or there's not a way to measure the impact or the results of the program. And with that, I think we have given you a bit of the overview, and I would like just to give 2 words on the collaboration between IHI and EIT Health. As you see, we are 2 organizations working in the same domain, which is health, but we are very complementary in our vision and in our support and approaches. So we don't occupy the same space. We see very complementary approaches, and we think there are lots of opportunities for collaborate among partners of the 2 organizations, among institutions, and that's why we have signed this MOU. And I hope that this webinar is the first of many initiatives that we will work together. So this is what we said. So in general, EIT Health is coming as a continuation, or can be seen as a continuation, the next step for some of the ideas of IHI in order to bring them to market, and we can support in terms of partnership, in terms of additional funding, and getting also to contact for also attract private investment, and combine the complementary disciplines that are needed in order to push an initiative forward. So as we say, the combination of education or business creation and innovation into your idea. And I think with that, I will stop this part of EIT Health. I will think it's better that we open the session now for questions. If there's anything in the audience, before we give it to the champions. I don't know, Sergio, if you can check the chat if there's any question.
I don't see any questions at the minute, Christina.
Okay. Okay, if that's the case, then I will go back then to my slides, and let's start with the important part, which is the examples of the different projects that have done this past. The 2 projects that we have selected have gone from first IHI and then to EIT Health, different experience in the past, even before we had this MOU. But they are very interesting initiatives and a lot of lessons learned from their experience in, as I say, in a collaboration that at the moment was very unstructured, but that worked well. So I give now the word to Nadir Armour and Philippe Bordes from Sanofi, that they will present this initiative of the European Health Record for Clinical Research that in the EIT Health time was called European Health Record for Electronic Data Exchange.
Hi, Maria. I think we got actually a couple of questions on the chat. I don't know if you can read them.
Okay, so then let's go, if you can wait 1 second, Nadir, and we go through the questions, and then I'll give you more in a moment. Can you read the questions for me?
Yes, absolutely. Please? So the first question is from Native Law. What is the financial model of the EIT Health?
Very good question. So we receive so most of our funding at the moment is coming from the, as I say, from the Horizon program. So the EIT gives us a funding envelope that is at the moment is around 60 million euros that we dedicate annually on the different programs. There is one part that is co-funding of the organization. So at the moment we are asking a co-funding that around 30% for the different programs. And then we have different other sources of funding. One is the membership fees. So the partners, as being members of EIT Health, pay an annual fee. And we are also having complementary funding from other initiatives. So what we are at the moment doing as EIT Health is serving as instrument for different European programs. So we also have alternative funding that is not only coming from EIT.
Very good. The second question comes from Angelica Valente from IHI. Do you consider patient engagement in your activities?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it is one of the criteria that we analyze in the implementation. And as I say, we have indicators about how the patients are involved not only in the impact on results, but also in the co-creation and in the definition and development of the activities. So especially, I mean, I don't want to enter into detail, but in the part of the new models of delivering healthcare, this is one of the specific dimensions that we are analyzing.
Very good. There are no more questions for the moment in the chat box.
Good. So then now, for once, Nadir, if you can open up your camera and share your screen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christina. Good afternoon, good morning, and thank you for having us today to share with you the experience and what we have learned from taking part into this project. We will be covering the story of these two projects, EHR4CR, which is Electronic Health Record for Clinical Research, and how that project that was initially launched, conducted, and delivered under the IMI framework has been capable of leveraging the EIT Health framework to conduct a follow-on project called EHR2 EDC, which is Electronic Health Record to Electronic Data Capture Systems. So we'll be co-presenting with my colleague Philippe Baud. My name is Nadir Amour. I am within the clinical operations at Sanofi. I am in charge of a portfolio of external engagements, including consortium projects, but not only. And I'm also in charge of internalizations of the value for this external project. And I have spent a good part of my previous career in drug development. Next slide, Philippe, please. Yeah, Philippe, if you can move to the next slide, if you hear me.
Yes, but I don't know why it is blocked now. It doesn't want to move.
We will make it work. So on the EHR4CR project, I am also presenting on behalf of the project coordinator, who is Mats Sundren, who is now retired from AstraZeneca, that was leading that project under the IMI, while the EHR2DC project has been led by Sanofi, and I was leading that project. So the story started really when the IMI has been established on the first place in 2009. And it offered at that time an unprecedented, landscape and a framework that would enable private organizations like ours in the pharma industry to collaborate with university hospitals, with universities, with academia in a transparent way and in co-development way. So it was really a first place where some of my former colleagues in the pharma industry have looked at that as an opportunity. They will also be working with certain hospital partners, and they developed the proposal that is about this project of EHR4CR to gain the support from IMI and launch it. And the project has been launched in 2011. The objective was really to look at how can we enable secondary use of electronic health record that is captured as routine care in a trustworthy, ethical, fully GDPR compliance and fully interoperable way to help research accelerations and help unfolding some of the pain points that we have in research, in particular around certain use cases. Next slide. So what was this project about? We had 35 partners, and you can see some of the logos on the right side here, a mix of pharmaceutical companies, public partners, mainly academia and hospital involved into that, and a couple of SMEs. We had 5 subcontractors, and the total budget was about 17 million euro. And as explained, half of it was in-kind resources provided by the pharma partners, and the other amount was cash that was made available to the public partners to make sure they have the resources to conduct the work that was put into that. So that, as you can see already into that slide, it's a nice combinations for a multiple type of expertise coming from different backgrounds and all coming together to tackle some challenges. It's a 5-year project. The project started in 2011 and has been completed in 2016. So what was the focus really on that project? As I said, it was around developing mechanism and processes and rules and guidelines that would enable secondary use of healthcare data in a fully compliant way to legal framework, ethical framework, and with the quality that is required for that. We also looked at how can we then develop a champion program that would, after the end of the project, connect hospitals to a platform. And finally, we needed also to have an organization that will act as a neutral body that can help foster the continuations of the dialogue that needs to be established among those partners around the ecosystem in Europe and beyond. And the European Institute for Innovation through Health Data has been created also as part of this project. So what was the outcome, really, when we look at the outcome on the next slide? We had really, during those 5 years, we developed and matured the concept of federated electronic health record databases or data warehouses into actionable services that are fully GDPR compliant and interoperable. So it's really an area where we have been able to tackle some of the theoretical concepts that were viable already at that time, but develop it and mature it to the point where we can have actionable services. And you can see here 3 companies that have emerged around this time, leveraging the work that has been done by this AMI project. And on the right side, the IHD has grown since then. They have been involved in a number of other European initiatives, either publicly funding or not, and they are now part also of this ecosystem. So in a nutshell, when we had done this project, if you look at that on this slide, we was really an industry effort, but not simply a pharma industry effort, it's a healthcare industry effort, really working closely with the hospital partners in this area, data experts, data privacy experts, data quality experts, and from the pharma industry, people who have been involved in clinical research. We looked at services that are illustrated here, protocol optimizations, where we can actually interrogate the electronic health record data to validate that the protocol as it is designed and the eligibility criteria as they are designed are really matching real populations and real patients that exist out there, and not simply be exposed to the bias that is inevitable if you are not having sufficient data to confirm your assumptions and your plans. Once we can analyze the protocol, we can also tweak the eligibility criteria and make some changes to prevent protocol amendment to happen, prevent delays, and prevent recruitment difficulties that may be due to too much stringent inclusion and exclusion criteria. Now, when you've done that, then we can also interrogate the network of hospitals to identify where the patients are and help with the selections of sites to ensure that your study plans and your study recruitment is really going to be working as expected, and reduce some of the pain points into the recruitment area, which is still a pain point today, where a number of studies will reach their end of recruitment timelines, but would have not yet met the recruitment objectives. So once you have that, the platforms enable the investigators at the sites to identify the patients. This is not something that the sponsor have access to. And that platform was essentially tooling the process of, protocol design, criteria eligibility, site selections, and, recruitment at the study. The initial project has also the objective at that time to address the third component, the data collection, not to the point where it becomes marketable, but at least as the proof of concept to understand what it is that is needed to develop a full services. We have run the champion program, and then, as you can see here, 2 years later, and sorry, on the slide it's mentioned 2015 at the end. Actually, the program has benefited from 1 year extension with no additional funding, by the way, but 1 year extension that enabled us to finish in 2016. And then in 2018, 2019, we have run the second project, EHR2EDC, and you can see the companies that are part of the second project, where we had newcomers that were not part of the initial project, like in particular, like Icon. There is also 4 hospitals that were included into this program in Europe: APHP, Dossier October in Spain, Hanover in Germany, and another institute of oncology in Italy called IRST. Next slide. So why have we developed that project? Actually, it is known today that more and more, when the study is being conducted at a given hospital, the source data are being collected in electronic formats. So they are already collected in electronic formats into the EHR, and at the same time re-entered manually into the study electronic data capture system, or ECRF. When we've done some evaluations at that time, we found out that approximately 40 to 50% of data are duplicated. Investigators consider that it's close to 90% of that data that is duplicated, which is a waste of effort, waste of time, doesn't add up any quality to the study, and it is simply a constraint that we had and we have right now, which is inherent of the process that we have in clinical research. The project, when it has been designed, was really modest. We were targeting 15% of data that can be transferred electronically amongst the most commonly data collected in clinical trials. And we've done some calculations that have eluded the fact that even with 15% of the data, we could save millions of man-days of avoidable workloads, but also a work that is not really exciting if you're sitting behind the screen and simply re-entering data from one system to another system. We also thought that it has to be designed in a way that it can support any type of studies, not only industry sponsored studies, but also academia, and also the supporting the health learning system, which is other type of studies that are conducted as well by our colleagues in academia. But the questions remains. The IMI project is completed. Everyone has had good collaborations. We had the closure meeting. We shared the output of the project. We made it viable to the public community and to the overall world. Some companies, as you have said, have taken the output from that project and created businesses. But then we would to move into developing the second component of data collections. You are still left with a kind of vacuum. Not all the companies that were part of the EHR4CR project would have been interested. As a matter of fact, not all of those companies were interested. So who will be interested? How can we really deliver a project that is going to be producing valuable outputs? What plan do we need for that? How the resources and the funding would come? Is that going to be funded on exclusively by the pharma partners? Do we have some other mechanisms? How do we include the public partners into such projects? As a matter of fact, you can't really design a project when you are expecting to be able to collect data from hospitals' electronic health record systems and not having them into the project. But it is not an easy task to be done at that time, and we will start thinking about what is the best way to do that. Next slide. So during the course of 2016, we developed the business case. We presented it to decision makers within our companies, to other players. we kind of shape it a little bit more. And the goal was to assess how many partners would really be interested to join the project and what are going to be the conditions for that. During that course, custodics that came out from the EHR4CR project, the IMI project, it was one of the startup, by the way, part of the IMI project. They started to connect healthcare organization in Europe, which is the Champion program, and they had already 20 healthcare organizations with 10, 12 that were waiting into their list. Janssen, Sanofi, AstraZeneca, UCB, ICON, and IHD expressed interest to be part of this second project. But we still had a lot of work to be done to make sure that we can identify the right success factors and how do we include the hospital partners. And that's really at that time where the opportunity came out. I had a meeting with the people at EIT Health, and they basically educated me on the opportunity that EIT Health could offer in this type of project, in particular focusing on go-to-market service and technology. And it was really one of our criteria. We didn't want to engage into a project where we will still get 2 years of investments and then not able to use it in our trials, or any trials, by the way, not only the industry ones, but also the academia. And we put a proposal in place in a very short period of time, between February 2017 and March, and we submitted it in April. We were very, very happy and excited when we get the information that our project has been selected for the hearing in May of that year. We got the hearing in June of 2017, and we get the project approved. It was really a relief for all the partners. And at that time, we already had a manifestation of interest for hospitals in Europe. As I said, 12th of October in Madrid, APHP in France, Hanover in Germany, and IRST in Italy, which gives us a good blend of variable environments in Europe, and enable the project to be designed to be working across countries, across different centers. And the condition that they had was really that they can get funding to do the work. And it was fantastic, because with the approval of the project, we were able to set it up the right way. Next slide. So what we have done during the project, and as you can see on the top illustration there, we had a number of workshops where hopefully we were able to get everyone working together during a couple of days, with work happening between workshops to design and develop the technology itself that Custodix, the company, has been developing. And then when we developed the technology, we said, okay, now we have to evaluate it. And we've heard Christina previously to say, we have to have an evaluation framework. It's one thing to develop it. Does it work? Does it work with the appropriate performance expected? So we designed the evaluation program with that study, 6 studies at 4 hospitals in Europe. And we essentially confirmed that 15% of data can be transferred. As a matter of fact, we had a couple of studies with different indications, and we have been able to show that in few studies, 2 studies at least, that we were above 25% of data that have been successfully transferred from the electronic health record systems into the EDC system. We have qualified the data of interest, laboratory data, vital signs, medication. The 3 categories there could represent up to 40-50% of data, in particular when you have local laboratory procedures being performed at the hospital. We have, more importantly, generated learnings, very qualified learnings that help us with the scalability planning and with the transition to live studies. And I can tell you today, and I'm happy to share that with you, that this year in 2023, we have initiated the first studies at Sanofi. The COVID obviously has put a kind of hold on that during 2 years. I would assume that if the COVID did not happen, we would have probably launched the studies in 2020, 2021. Next. So what is the key value? If we kind of summarize a little bit what the EIT Health has brought to us, it offered a very robust collaboration framework, very well articulated. There are templates out there. There's document. I mean, there is when you develop the proposal, there's a series of questions that you have to go through that would firm up your plan and make you sure that you're addressing the hard points of the project and not stay on the vague, I would say, expression of interest based on willingness to do. You don't go into the details and work with the team on addressing those questions. 2 years was a perfect timing because that's the approximate time you would need to deliver a transformative output like the one that we have developed into this project. But it also gave us a sense of urgency because 2 years, can run very fastly and can be, if you contemplate what you're doing, you can just, see them flying and at the end of the 2 years haven't accomplished as much as we would have been planning initially. It makes the collaborations much easier. It's much easier to go to public partners and tell them we want to launch a collaborative project, but we want also you to be part of that project without being only, funded by the industry. That's an area where our public partners in Europe are very sensitive to that. And it provides funding, of course, that can be utilized for securing the resources into the projects. Another component that was very, very valuable is the branding. When you come with this project with the branding of, one is IMI, the other one is EIT Health, it provides credibility, it provides visibility to the project. And when we had meetings with the European agency, the EMA and the FDA, it's another story when you come with this kind of framework as opposed to doing it alone, 2 or 3 companies. We had benefited from fantastic guidance and advisory services from EIT Health people and members there to make sure that we can drive the project in the right way and take advantage of their expertise and experience in collaborative projects. Also, when needed, we can also tap into the network of EIT Health for any specific demands that we may have, and with the support that they can offer us for outreach communications as well. As a conclusion, I think it was a perfect match for us, very timely, that has helped us move the conceptual solutions of data collections that were developed within the IMI EHR4CR project and concretely deliver the solutions that is working for real studies as an output that is reaching the market right now. And as I said, now there's a couple of vendors that are viable out there that are developing these services for the transformation of clinical research in Europe and beyond. I think that's my last slides. Maybe Philippe, if you want to add 1 or 2 words from you.
Thank you, Nadir. Yes, thank you, first of all. So I just want to say that this transition from IMI to the EIT Health was a really nice way to move a project forward from a proof of concept to a more solution-oriented to maximize the impact. So, and as you mentioned, Nadir, so this IMI project started in 2011. It ended in 2016, and at that time, we saw that EIT Health could be the best option to sustain a solution. And it was mentioned by Christina in the introduction that the EIT Health seeks for solution that can become sustainable. And I think we demonstrate through this transition from IMI to EIT Health that it's possible. And I think that's it for me. And if you have any questions, please put your question into the chat, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Nadir and Philippe, for this presentation that I think illustrates very nicely in this transition in one concrete example. There's a comment, I think, from Tom Metcalfe saying, I'm a little concerned that we have to revert to quite old examples. So to inform this discussion, 6-7 years is a long time in this environment. I just wanted to, I mean, maybe you can comment also, Nadir, from my side, and it's to say we have chosen the examples that we had. I mean, as I say, this collaboration is structured new with the MOU. The way it happened in the past, it was very punctual and anecdotal, how to say, because Nadir has probably, maybe you can explain this coincidental that you are also in EIT Health, but the project from the EIT Health side finished in 2020, so 3 years ago. So Nadir, please, if you have a comment.
Yeah, I think Hugh has raised his hand. If you want to comment something, and I can then just follow up on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good comment, but I just want to highlight that the whole idea of our workshop is to highlight the options available with EIT Health. And I think, Christina, you described it really, really well in your presentation, this complementarity, about the fact that often what we do in IMI and IHI is this pre-competitive space, and you exist in a space where you're more comfortable and more able to take on things that are either closer to the market. But having said that, we have many, many examples of different project results coming out of IMI and IHI that have become foundations, that have become spin-out companies, that have used national funding, that have used different types of funding. And I suppose the thing is, there are many different ways in which results can be sustained, and we encourage everybody to investigate what's right for them. But our idea with the workshop was just to introduce what could be done with a program like EIT Health. And again, focusing on this complementarity in terms of the staging of the results. And okay, this result is from a few years ago, but honestly, I think it's a really nice example of how you can take something coming out of an IMI project and use EIT then to develop it further and make it more sustainable. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, simply maybe to add that as you may think it's long, but as Christina mentioned, the project was ended by the end of 2020. And when you go into, and we are working into highly regulated environments, so the work that is required to conduct those validations and proof to that it is scalable, this takes a little bit of time. If you think about some of the technologies that have been developed in the space of clinical research, I give you just one example. The ECRF took a decade from the first, version that was implemented in the first study when it becomes like widely accepted and used into the research space. So those are highly transformative projects that anyway takes time. It's not the technology that takes time, it's the adoptions by the people who are working on that space.
Exactly. Thank you. There's another question from Elisabetta Baudano saying, which challenges have you encountered that possibly could be tackled if circled back to IHI?
It's a good question, and we had a lot of discussions on the consortium about what would be another round of collaborative project that will be needed. Two things that come out into the reflections. Number one is you need, when you get certain level of maturity with the development of innovations, you need to make a decisions whether you accelerate your deployments or whether you go back into a long cycle of developments. IHI is 5 years. So it's a very long, durations. But in reality, these type of projects are ending into the series of projects in IHI that are labeled real-world evidence, real-world data evidence projects. They have components of data acquisitions, that have components about, the challenges that have been encountered into extracting, for example, information from unstructured data. And that topic about extracting information from unstructured data that we have encountered into this project is being now addressed into a number of IHI projects and other type of projects as well. So I think there's some connections that is happening naturally on that. They may have a different name, they may have a different scope, but this is essentially what they are, getting back into IHI effectively.
Thank you. I don't see any more question in the chat. I don't know if I'm... yeah, that's it for now. I wanted to comment, Nadir, maybe because you have mentioned it, and I think it is also one of the different characteristics how we work with the projects in terms of our engagement as a staff of EIT Health. So we are not part of the Commission or European civil servants. The staff of EIT Health is normally engaged in the projects. That's why we have external evaluators and for the assessment of the projects. But we normally support also in the consortium building, in the shaping of the proposals, in from the local hubs in order to link to really this local resonance, but also in looking for the right landing in another market in Europe or having a contact internationally and so on. So I don't know what has been your experience in that in comparison to the experience now on IHI and IMI.
I mean, for that particular project, the consortium was essentially pre-formed from the EHR4CR project, but we had we looked at some networking opportunities that were viable out there to look at where there is some additional partners that could have been a nice addition to what we had. And I think there is probably and that's one area that I like very much about EIT Health is we can onboard partners that can help with the business model developments. That is something that usually we're missing a little bit on other type of project, in particular where most of the contributors are from a research background. So that business modeling is probably something that I would strongly recommend to be leveraged from the EIT Health network.
Thank you very much, Nadir. So let's then go to the next presentation. Let me just share the intro slide that you'll see. So the next project that we are showing is EUPATY, and I have the honor to also introduce you to Maria Duterte and Laia Bisbal, who will present the experience of EUPATY as the European Patients Academy. This is a big initiative that has come from probably different sources and different synergies, and I think it shows a lot also of the complementarity vision specifically in the education domain. So Maria, Laia, so the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for this kind introduction. Our slides are coming up here. So this is a joint presentation. My name is Maria Duterte. I'm the Executive Director, as mentioned, and here with me I have my colleague.
Hello, my name is Laia Bisbal, and I am the Open Classroom Coordinator and also involved in the different programs for patients.
Thank you, and thank you for bearing us with this joint setup we have here. So to start with, I would like to present a few facts about EUPATY and who we are. Next slide, please. So EUPATY stands for the European Patients Academy for Therapeutic Innovation. And our vision from the beginning has been to improve health outcomes through the contribution of patients and patient representatives as valued stakeholders in the medicine's R&D process. And this is indeed still the core belief that our activities are based on. So it's about patient engagement in medicine's development. And that patient voice can be empowered through education. So our mission is to provide accessible, innovative, and inclusive education that empowers patients and patient representatives in taking that active role in working together with other stakeholders. And we still actively promote this while expanding our activities now to also sharing that knowledge about patient engagement to the other stakeholders. We also address them as a key stakeholder and also build those bridges and connections between patients and researchers. So we work in different activity areas that you can see summarized on the right-hand side, and we will dig into these in a moment. Next slide, please. So our journey started in 2012. We were initiated as an IMI project at that time, so 11 years ago. And so this thinking was really forming our consortium. We were a multi-stakeholder consortium from the start to bring all the different stakeholders together and accomplish this mission of creating educational resources for patients and patient representatives. We did benefit from another IMI funded grant that was especially focusing on the sustainability of EUPATI. And then EIT Health came in 2020 to support the reshaping of one of our key activities, the Patient Expert Training Program. And we are now today established as a non-profit foundation. So we are an independent entity and we are registered in the Netherlands. We have a small secretariat of currently 12 individuals and a multi-stakeholder governance structure. And we will end with a note of the future at the end of this presentation. So now going back in time to the early phase of EUPATI, and really thinking of the main activities that was the focus of that 33 strong consortium. You can see our partners here. The main deliverable for that consortium was the so-called Patient Expert Training Program. And the vision for this was to have a high-level academic training program that would cover all the different stages of medicine's R&D. So starting from non-clinical, going through clinical development, regulatory affairs, and health technology assessment, taking the patients through this whole life cycle of medicines and having then acquired the language, the vocabulary of research in order to provide their insights in this process. So that was the main deliverable, how to shape and provide this program. Another deliverable was the so-called EUPATI Toolbox, which is still very much alive. Today accessed almost by 7 million users to date. It is a searchable database with these articles and webinars and infographics about medicines R&D. And here it's important to note that this tool is available in 14 languages today. And we also established so-called national platforms. Today we have 24 national platforms, and these mini EUPATI entities then provide our trainings at the national level. So this is what was delivered in the first 5 years, and now we are zooming into the Patient Expert Training Program. So the program, as I mentioned, was on the entire medicine's life cycle. It is generic, so non-disease specific, while we do provide some case studies from specific disease areas. It has its roots in the European system, but we do give also examples from other areas of the world. It has 6 online modules, so they are online courses, online modules, and also 2 training events that are either live streaming events or face-to-face events. And these events provide additional exercises and lectures, and also is a networking opportunity for the learners. This is the structure as it was during the IMI times, and it continues to be the overall structure today. So this program is alive and kicking, and we are going into the 7th cohort, as you will see soon. So what we then identified as a challenge after coming out of the IMI program, and which was then proposed to EIT as the key element of our proposal in 2019, was the fact that we saw that while we were running this program, it was for a limited number of people every time. So the cohort registrations were opened for 60 seats at a time, and a selection committee looked at all the applications. So there was this quite a heavy administrative burden on the secretariat to select representative group of patients and patient representatives to study at each cohort. And also the program was only available to those who had been selected. It was a linear format, so a trainee needed to go through one module in order to get to the next. And we saw that the demand for this training was increasing rapidly. And we had to say no to most of the applications. We had 3 times as many as we could take into the cohorts. So this really pushed us to think for a different solution. We saw that this bottleneck had to be resolved, and so when the EIT Health opportunity came through one of our partners who was a member in 2019, where our consortium quickly jumped on that. I have to remind you that at this stage, the IMI was supporting our sustainability efforts, and there was a consortium. Many of the partners who had been with us in the early days were continuing to support us. So there was still a structure in place that was then able to apply for this project through the European Patients Forum that was hosting EUPATI as an educational program at that time. So the project was then called EUPATI Reload, and it was funded for 1 year, 2020, and then had a 2nd year extension in 2021. So 2 full calendar years in total. It ran from, as you can see there, from January 2020 to end of December 21. So there was a small group of partners who joined, both from industry side, academia, and then EPF was running this. So European Patients Forum logo should actually be here as well. So the multi-stakeholder consortium then used this opportunity really to revisit the entire program and try to address this bottleneck that we had seen. So the modules were repackaged and transformed into smaller units. There is a new open classroom that was launched. My colleague will speak more about that on the next slide. And we also used this opportunity to revise some of the content. We saw that a lot of the regulatory affairs, especially, and the health technology assessment content needed to be updated. And this was an opportunity to do so in this consortium. We also saw new emerging areas, medical devices and digital health, being of interest for the patients to learn more about. How are they developed, or how can I contribute as a patient to the development of these solutions? So 2 new modules were put in place also through authoring groups within this consortium. And now I'm handing over to my colleague, I believe from the next slide on.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Yeah, well, I will explain a little bit how is this new approach to learning or current open classroom, EIT open classroom. You can see here in this screen how it looks. So the new format of the EIT patient expert training program is provided via an online learning management system. We call it EIT Open Classroom, and it's a user-friendly platform that provides easy access to all learning materials. The content of the program is freely available under Creative Commons license, and it is not necessary to register to access to the full content to obtain a certificate and take an assessment. The user has to pay an administrative fee of €8. So this change, this new platform, also that it's open to everyone, also allow to diversify the training pathways, giving the option to take courses also individually, take modules individually, and also if an individual would like that, to enroll in the patient expert training program and become a EIT fellow. So what happened? No? What is the before and after the EIT reload in this case? So an open platform allowed us to reach more people, to have a global reach, and to have unlimited access to training. So in the past, we could see that it was only accessible in Europe, and the Moodle was only accessible to certain and selected participants, and now it's available for everyone through this online learning platform. And also the patient expert training program also changed and became a more flexible program, and also became more free. No, allowed the trainees to take the courses at their own pace, to also go back to the training. So we could see that this change actually allow us to remove the bottleneck that we observed before applying to this project. So, but at the same time, we still see some implementation challenges that we identified at the time, and we are still working on them. One of them is, even though this platform is allowed, it's accessible for everyone, we still have a limited capacity for the program. So a limited capacity for the patient expert training program in-person events. And we are still working on increasing the number of EIT fellows graduating every year by increasing the capacity in this area. At the same time, we also identified some difficulties in generating content and updating content. Nowadays, we have implemented different processes to generate and maintain the content that we have, but we are still working on this area to expand the capacity. At the same time, we also had to inform, now besides the patient expert training program, we also have other learning pathways that you can take, that you can get certified in specific courses or specific modules. So we are working on communicating that. How? There's a new page in the Open Classroom explaining the different learning pathways. We have also improved and encourage people to follow different types of pathways and inform about all of them through our channels in social media. At the same time, this platform available for everyone also allows people with different backgrounds and different mentoring needs to access our content. So this requires careful planning and effort. At the same time, we have introduced a payment system, like the users, as I said, they have to pay for a small fee. This requires constant work, both with the platform providers that we are already doing, and internally to keep these payment gateways running smoothly and efficiently. At the same time, we found out that the accreditation, actually to find an entity that could accredit the program and provide international and official certification is challenging, and we are actually currently working on that. So as Maria mentioned before, here you can observe all the different cohorts. And you can also see when did they develop, and also where was the graduation and at what year. We are currently starting the cohort 7. Actually, next month is the introductory webinar. 130 new trainees will start this new cohort, and we are really excited about that. So cohort 1 to 4 happened before the EUPATI reload. And cohort 5 and 6, they have been completed after the EUPATI reload, which means that they didn't have a selection process, and they happened once the open classroom was in place. So we have observed that the transition has worked really well. Actually, we wanted to see if without the selection process, it will be well represented. And actually, we've seen that despite this non-preselection process of the trainees, the representation was well balanced, both geographically and in terms of disease area. So we are really happy about that. We see a positive development and increasing demand to become a EUPATI fellow. Currently, we have more than 330 EUPATI fellows that come from 41 different countries. At the same time, we opened this door to have content available for everyone. So we also wanted to identify how many people actually browsing the platform and accessing the content, and where are they coming from. So beginning of 2023, we started working with Google Analytics and identifying. So it helped us see that actually there's people accessing the content from more than 200 countries. And here you can see the countries with more visits. And we can actually see that we have more than 15,000 average users per month. More than 100,000 new visitors. So we are actually really happy about that. Here you can see the average users per month, per week, and per day. And at the same time, we have more than 1,200 and 1,262 registered users since the launch of Open Classroom in August 2020. At the same time, as Maria mentioned before, one of the other goals of this EUPATI reload was to develop these 2 new modules, medical devices, that was launched in September 2022. And 127 users have enrolled in these different courses of this module. These are 2 modules that are out of the patient expert training program. So actually the people can just enroll in these courses or in this module individually and obtain a certification. And then this year we launched the digital health module, actually in May this year, and already 41 users have enrolled and in the different courses that compose this module. So I will give the word back to Maria to see where are we going from now on.
Thank you, Laia. So just to summarize some of these lessons learned to share with all of you as well. So we were really the IMI gave birth to us and set the scene for the main, set the main structure that is still in place today. And that even today's main activities are still the ones that were established then. And then what EIT Health really contributed with was refining that main deliverable or the main activity we had, the patient expert training and then launching the EUPATI Open Classroom, which is now the main, let's say, source for patient education in medicines R&D in Europe, but I hope so globally as well. So it really shows how well aligned I think these two instruments were in supporting also the strategic goal that we have, and I'd say that was one of the key elements also as a success factor, is that there was a full alignment among our partners, but also these funding instruments of the importance of patient education in this field. And so today I am very proud of what we have accomplished, and the fact that we are now an independent foundation shows that we have really benefited from this support. We have 48 partners today who continue to support us in all of our activities throughout and our governance. We have the 24 national platforms, and we today are now eligible for European funding through the different instruments. So also involved in one of our first IHI projects this year. EU for Health also is supporting our work on the content development side for the open classroom on health technology assessment. So I see that really the lessons learned for us for kind of benefiting from these opportunities is the really strong support from key partners and the alignment around the strategic goal, and yes, fine-tuning that vision and mission and agreeing around that has been really important to us. And with that, I think we close our presentation and invite for a conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you, Maria and Laia, and congratulations for the success of your journey. I see there's a comment in the chat, so I'm going to read it, and I think it will go back to you again, Hugh, to respond, because I think it's more related to IHI. So on a more, it's also from Tom Metcalfe. On a more general note, could it be possible to provide all ongoing and new IMI, IHI projects with more systematic sustainability support, including possible connections to EIT? Many IMI, IHI projects struggle to learn from other projects and to make the transition to a sustainable model. This webinar is a good start, but there are only 50 participants online.
So it's a very good point. I mean, we have to go back in history a little bit because I think we all forget what the landscape in many areas was like in 2010, 2011. It was even more different than before COVID, and there was no strong message related to sustainability of projects and project results under IMI1. It was something that we encouraged towards the end, but it happened rather than there been a big push, particularly at the beginning when we were establishing the program. That has changed under Horizon 2020, where we encourage and we remind all of the projects right from the beginning to think about sustainability, not at the end of the project, but at the beginning of the project. And that's reflected again in IHI. So when we give presentations to our consortia, when we engage with them, this is one of the messages that we're always trying to get across, thinking about this path to sustainability, either for the output of the project or the consortia. And this is one of the reasons why we've got the MOU with EIT Health. This is the reason why this will not be an isolated webinar. We will be exchanging, we'll be working together, and we'll do this in the future. and we will continue to reach out, and we will, where possible, we're very happy to have further workshops, further webinars to explain to IMI 1 and IMI 2 projects and their participants how they can interact with programs like EIT Health. But as I said before, there are many different options available. So I don't think that every project has resulted in every program that is out there. They're going to have to think about it themselves. But we will do more in this space, and we will continue to work with EIT Health to promote this interaction, and hopefully projects will be able to make use of it.
Thank you. We will present a bit of more practical steps how we collaborate at the end of the session. I would like to welcome back to Laia and Maria, because there are a couple of questions for you actually. So let's go through them. So from Angelica Valente, do the training for patients focus on making them knowledgeable and capable to be engaged in scientific discussion, for example, giving their opinion on protocols for trial studies? Do you also foresee training to make patients knowledgeable and capable to assess scientific projects and their results or evaluate proposals?
Thank you. Very good question. So indeed, the main objective of this training is to prepare patients to be working alongside researchers and provide their insights throughout the medicine's R&D process. Protocol review is one item that we especially focus on, but also health technology assessment. How can patients be involved with their national HTA bodies, for example, or how can I be involved at the EMA level? We have practical exercises around that, for example. So it is not only protocol review, it is the entire life cycle. And the second question was on, can you repeat that?
Do you also foresee training to make patients knowledgeable and capable to assess scientific projects as a result, and the results or evaluate proposals?
We do not yet provide that specifically, but I would love to develop something like that. We have EUPATI fellows who have gone to do that independently. I have knowledge of several individuals who do work with funders to provide their patient insights. But I think transmitting that knowledge would be really interesting, and I would love to see a program around that. Happy to collaborate on that.
Very good. We have another question from Tom Metcalfe related to, do you collaborate with PFMD?
Yes, PFMD is the Patients Focused Medicines Development Initiative, and we have had, since another IMI project, Paradigm, a very close collaboration with them. And actually, one of the sustainability elements of that IMI project is the so-called Patient Engagement Open Forum, which is an annual face-to-face, but also a virtual series of meetings that focus on patient engagement.
Thank you. Ahmed Aydin, I hope I pronounced it okay, the name, says, thank you very much for your presentation. Do you have any idea to develop this platform in different languages?
Hi. Yes, well, at the time, the toolbox, as Maria commented at the beginning, it's already available in 14 languages. Having the platform available in different languages, that's also something that that we would like to work on, and hopefully we will be able to do it in the future.
Maybe that's the focus of our next proposal. Who knows? Translations.
Very good. I mean, everything that is scalability, I think, would fit to the missions of both institutions. I think we definitely need to go out from these small pilots to really large impact projects. I think there's a last comment or from Mike Chambers saying both of these examples there was a need for a bridge between IMI project and the EIT follow-on. In the case of UPATI, this involved quite lengthy follow-on funding from IMI to help define and refine the scalable product service. At the end of IHI projects, members are very focused on finalizing the deliverable. Does IHI or EIT have plans to help projects bridge this gap? So for this one, I think I will go back to Hugh and maybe I can comment afterwards.
So again, I think this question is very much linked to the previous question. We request our projects now to really think seriously about sustainability, and they usually have deliverables, and they should be working on what shape or what model they're going to follow in order to make their project sustainable, or their program, or the result, or because it's not just continuing to fund the consortium. There has to be something of value that has to be taken on and developed by programs like EIT Health. So I think yes, that's hardwired now into particularly IMI2 and IHI. It was not so much there, as I said, under IMI1. I think the other thing that we do more of is we try, as we're doing today, to identify those programs and those pathways for consortia to follow. But actually, at the end of the day, it's up to the consortium to really define what it is that they see as needing sustained or been followed up on in terms of a result or a platform, or maybe it's the consortium itself, because I think under Horizon Europe, the landscape has changed a lot. Some of the programs are now very much focused on getting to market. You know, we've got the EIC and we've other programs that so I think in terms of sustainability, the European funding landscape has also evolved in the past between the different work programs. So I think it's a combination of different things. And of course, we try to help the projects as best they can to prepare for that step after IHI funding. I don't know, Christina, if you'd like to come in now.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Mike, for the comment. I think this gap is something that we have detected, and that's why also one of the reasons of the MOU and also this webinar. From EIT Health, what we have noticed is, as you say, that the consortium, the partners, the institutions, they normally have a good idea for a project, but I mean, navigating through all these funding sources and support program is not easy, and that's why we try with our people to help in this navigation and support them directly. So we help our partners not only in our own projects, but also to look for alternative support programs that can really fulfill, because it's not an easy task, as you say, and you're if not busy with deliverables, there's certainly other things that probably at the moments of reporting or whatever that doesn't allow very easy transitions between programs. So my recommendation is definitely to look for the continuation and alternatives as soon as possible, so that it can be planned in advance and not at the last moment, because in any case, with the evaluations and so on, it may take 1 year to make a program running. So it's good to plan it in advance, so not to lose too much time, that it gets kind of a stack or block and the people then disappear, and then you need to build again a new consortium. And from our side, and I think this transitions very well to the next part of the presentation, which is the wrap up and next steps. So if I don't see any more comment, I will go specifically to this slide that I wanted to share with you, which is exactly about that, no? How can we help you in the next steps if you have an idea that could fit into this transition? From the EIT Health side, as I say, we have a very distributed network. So the best way is to contact your local hub. So depending on where you are based in Europe, and there's here a link on our website to the contact address or emails and people who are really at the local hubs to support you. And in any case, I mean, if you want to contact me or Jean-Marc, we can follow you that contact too. We are launching this call for proposal on the 10th of January. We will launch a prior publication on the hints what is going to come end of the month. So stay tuned. We normally, when we launch a call, there are different events and webinars, and we are planning also a presential matchmaking event in mid-February in Portugal. So that will be also informed with the call publication. And definitely the best way to understand a program is to learn it firsthand, as we have had it today, from people who have gone through it. So I really want to thank all the participants of the session because they have shown not only very interesting projects and with impact and very successful, but also how this procedure or this process can run. So that was my last presentation. We are here to say as an option for you, and I hope you have enjoyed the session. With that, I'll go back to you, Hugh.
I see there's actually a question from Jean-Marc to the UPT colleagues. Do you believe that some patient courses, like those focused on HTA, regulatory affairs, DMD, could be reshaped and spread out to some other targeted audience within our EIT Health Academy platform? And there's Jean-Marc himself.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a very interesting question. Thank you for that. And now that the open classroom actually allows anyone to browse the content, we have seen also persons from other stakeholder groups joining the learners, and they find that very good content, even if it's written the patient in mind. It's really addressing the patient representative, but I think it can be helpful for other health professionals as well. So would be open to looking into this, repackaging it further. Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to comment anything, Jean-Marc.
So can you hear me? Sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, good.
Sorry. Thanks a lot for your suggestions. So I mean, it makes sense. So let's move forward to discuss further such an opportunity.
Great. So I saw there was a question about sharing of slides. So yes, the slides will be circulated to everybody. So I think if there's no more comments, we can begin to wrap up. We all know that sustainability and this need to deliver, and from our perspective, and for all of us working in health, to deliver impact for patients is really, really key. And I think I'd like to thank Christina, because you really explained very well this complementarity between IHI, which is more focused in this pre-competitive, this early space, and then EIT being able to take on some of those results and take them forward. And then, so we understand sustainability is important, impact is important, and that's why we're doing this workshop. And as I said, we will do more of them as time goes past, because we need to find ways to maximize the investments we're making in these areas. Jean-Marc, do you want to make a little announcement?
Yeah, I may. So if you authorize me to make such an announcement, obviously, so I don't want to jeopardize your
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I would like to take the opportunity to deal with this interaction with your IHI partners, especially the industrial partners which are representing a pharmaceutical industry sector, and that with the team we are looking forward to setting up a new European partnership for health industry workforce, which will be focused on the new pact for skills with the European Commission. So with DigiGrow, as you may know, DigiGrow is actually a focus on the SMEs, industry and internal market, with DG Ample for the employment, and tomorrow with DG ERA, the Health Emergency Response and Preparedness Authority. So all those, European Commission directorates are working with the EIT Health for a while, beginning of the year, to shape a new pact for skills to address, the talent shortage and the talent gap analysis in the subsector of pharmaceutical industry, medical technologies, medtech industry, and diagnostics as well. We finalized a new pact, and the European Commission is looking forward to sign officially this new pact on 1st of December. And we will be entitled and tasked to shape the consortium in 2024 onwards for 5 years. And actually, we are more than keen to welcome pharmaceutical industry partners joining this new pact for skills, whereby we do expect to chase public funding to develop obviously training courses for healthcare, for health industry professionals. I mean, health workforce, not focus on healthcare professionals, but only on health industry workforce. So if participants during this meeting are interested in such an opportunity, don't hesitate to reaching out to EIT Health, so Christina or me, and I will be directing the expression of interest towards the team leader in advance to the meeting that will take place in Brussels on 1st of December. Thanks a lot for your time, Jürgen.
No, it's perfect, and you just highlight why it's important that we've signed an MOU and why we continue to work together, and we'll continue to meet and explore how we can deepen the interaction and do more in this area going forward. So I think it's really exciting. And thank you for sharing that information with everybody, because I hope you will get some contacts after the webinar. With that, maybe we can, as I said, draw everything to a close. I really just want to emphasize that for those of you online, if you've heard something interesting or something you don't understand, don't hesitate to reach out and contact us. So contact EIT Health about, you might have results, or you might have some work that you think will find a home under EIT Health. And you might have some questions that for the IHI team. So please, that's what we're here for, to answer your questions. I really want to thank the two projects. Well, first of all, I want to thank Christina and Jean-Marc and the whole team at EIT Health, because we've already had a very fruitful interaction. And as I said, we're really looking forward to developing it further, because I think we have lots of work to do in this space. I want to thank Nadir and Philippe, as well as Maria and Laia, because I alluded to this before, but we often forget what the world looked like in 2010, 2011. So electronic health records for clinical research and EUPATI were really trailblazers and really set the scene. And the fact that they could be sustained shows that they actually delivered on what they were set out to do, which is to change the way we do things. So I'd like to congratulate you and your teams, because the fact that you still continue really shows the importance of the work and the far-sightedness of everybody who set up those projects at the very beginning. And from my side, I just want to thank Sergio and the team here at IHI, and to re-emphasize the point that we really enjoy our interactions with EIT Health. We like working with you all, and we see it as a really important part of our synergies. And the complementarity between the two teams is great, and we're committed and willing to continue that in the years to come. So we look forward to our next workshop together. Okay.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
a lot. Thank you very much.
All right.
Good
Thank you,
afternoon,
everybody.
everybody.
Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.